together, but no, Beth, your goes crashing down. Determination, the suffering, the ability to... And she's unleashed everything in this attack. See just how much that win means to him. All the marbles. Kayla versus Allison, and to the line. Kayla Laguna takes the victory.
Hey everyone, welcome to CVRcade Solo Cup Racing for Tuesday Zone T. We have an exciting lineup of maps in tonight's Omnium, and we have more racers than I'm used to commentating over today, so it's going to be really exciting. My name's Aaron Starlin. I'm going to be your host. Mod KG, always good to see you in the chat. This first race coming up is 8 laps of Aquavelo. It's a low skill event, a one-time multiplier map. So, we'll see if everyone wants to, how hard everyone goes, because it is the one-time multiplier. You have 2 abilities. You have Corner Caper, which means you can't slide out in the corners, and you have Uncrashable, which means you can't crash into other riders or in corners either. But like we've been doing normally, we have 2 supers, 1 Quantum Shift, which you can phase through riders for 10 seconds, which used to be an ability for these low skill events, but now they want to make it a little harder on everyone. And it's just a super. So it's only going to last 10 seconds instead of the whole race. Makes it a lot harder, makes this wear you out a little bit more. But tonight's maps are a little more technical. So it should be fun to see. Should be a lot of crashes, hopefully. And we have 1 Comeback Kid, which gives you 367 watts for extra watts for 45 seconds or until you pass another rider. The race we have in here, we have Nigel coming back. He won his own earlier today. We have Homer back for, I think, his 4th Omnium of the day. Nigel looks ready to go. We have Casey back. He came in second to Nigel earlier. So I think this is going to be a little bit of a grudge match here. We'll see how it goes. But Frank is also in here, and Kayla and Luis. So there's a lot of good racers. We're gonna see some battles tonight. I'm really excited. Luis is locked in, getting warmed up. I know Frank might want to spoil the party to beat some people, but he's got his work cut out for him. Crucial Bull is excited to see Kayla in there. So Kayla, you have already someone in the chat cheering you on. And Judah Athlete, great lineup. Yes, this is good lineup of racers. Should be some really good racing. I'm excited to see how it starts. It's about 30 seconds till it starts. Like I said, it's more of a technical courses tonight, technical maps tonight. So it should be really exciting. We won't see any crashes on this first one, sadly. I would go and talk to them, but I talked a little bit too long. So 8 laps, Aquavelo. Crucial Bull, how are you doing tonight? It's always good to see you in the chat. You're always in here. Always nice to talk to you in here. See you cheering Kayla on, cheering everyone on. But here we go. Everyone's in the starting lineup, spinning up, getting ready to go. Nigel looks focused. He's powering through. And we'll see who comes out in front and then how this plays out, because there's a lot of different tactics. We saw some people go a little too early before, a little too late. There's this one. There actually is more skill now involved without the Quantum Shift as an ability, I think, because you can't really, with the Quantum Shift ability, you're kind of morphing through everyone, and it just, I think you can do a little more skill here. But Kayla's off the back a few seconds, so she already uses her Comeback Kid just to get back with the group here. You want to try not to do that, but hopefully she can still hold it at the end there. She zooms by. Maybe they'll get lost in the group and no one will be able to. But Homer uses his Comeback Kid to get back with the group. And this could be good for Caleb, because if he gets back with the group and gets in front of them and stays in front of them, no one can use their Comeback Kid to get back to her. And she's the second up right now, but this pack of Nigel, Frank, Casey, and Luis are making their way back to her, closing that gap. getting right there, getting right there, but she's still pushing hard, trying to make sure she's a little faster right now. They're about the same speed. Now Homer goes by, and like I said, if he can stay up there, if he pushes through and stays on the front there, but Nigel gets into his draft, getting saying, I don't want you to get too far ahead of me. So they're all staying close. Homer's still in a spot that helps protect Kayla for the end here. So if someone wants to get through, they're going to have to get by Homer and then use their comeback kid to catch up, or just put in a lot of effort. But I think Kayla might be putting in a lot of effort herself. So she may be in a really good spot right now, depending on how this plays out. There's still over a kilometer left, so anything can happen. You have everyone in a line here. Luis a little off the back, but he's getting into that draft. Nigel pushing up. I think he's going to try to make a move to go in front of Homer, so that way, maybe I shouldn't have given away these secrets. He would have known, but no, he's pushing up. He puts a lot of power down, and now he's protected by Homer. And then if he gets by Kayla, he'll be protected by both of them if he gets around. So this could be a good position for him too. We just have to see everyone else's. So Kayla and Nigel are up in the front in their own little group here. Kayla moves over, says, "Yeah, Nigel, you can go by me." Nigel the Nightmare with the win streak. True, he did win earlier today, and he looks like he's going for a second win tonight. But Casey puts down some power. He says, "No, I'm going to catch back up with you. I'm ready to go." Gets in there. Oh, and gets blocked. Nigel moves over, slows him down. So that lets Luis start moving through. Luis now in second place with the inside line, but Casey is right there behind him. So he lost a little bit of time there, but not much. So now you have Kayla still in first. She's still holding this lead. Nigel and Luis in this battle side by side. Casey right behind. Homer uses his quantum shift. But I don't think he has the power there to catch back up. Frank uses his quantum shift and zooms through. I believe this is the last lap, so we'll see if anything goes. But he is protected by Kayla unless Casey can get around. Now Casey uses comeback kid. This could be really good timing by Casey, but Frank's putting down almost 1,200 watts. They're both putting down 1,200 watts, but there's no catching Frank when he puts that power down. That was incredible racing. Holy crap. Oh my gosh, that was okay. So Casey had his comeback kid and was putting down 1,200 watts. Frank, without a comeback kid, was also putting down 1,200 watts. So that was a huge sprint out of Frank. We're gonna see how that affects him in the next race. But that was a lot of effort to put down, especially for a one-time multiplier. But I think he's here to prove a point. He wants to show off his skills. So that was an incredible race there. And the next one, let's just talk to Casey there, because I don't think Frank's in the broadcast right now. But Casey, how? I just want to know what's going through your head, because you were putting down. You look like you were in a good spot with that comeback kid and the power you were putting down. I don't know. I'm kind of at a loss for words. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, no, that was actually perfect for me. One-time multiplier. You don't want to burn a bunch of matches. I jumped just right, and Frank jumped just hard enough that. I mean, don't get me wrong. I still sprinted hard. I was doing, like 1,100 equalized. So that's still, I'm only getting like a 350 boost. So that's still a hard lap. But Frank kind of almost led me out without, I don't know. He might have been doing it intentionally. We've worked together in the past. But I saw him going, and I knew he'd take it to the line. So I just needed to get to the front and form the gap and drop the comeback kid, and it worked out. So I can't really plan that move unless you're working with somebody, intentionally. You just have to recognize when it happens and go. And that's a big part of it, is just knowing that that's the moment and not thinking about it and just doing it.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Just reacting to how everything's going, and it worked out. You didn't have to use as much effort there. So you've had a little bit of practice on this next map, this Water Village map. Do you feel confident in your abilities after the practice you've had?
Nobody can ever feel confident on this map. These slow corners are just too hard. People getting on your hip, Just a brief moment of inattention, not reaching up for the break in time. You just can't lose focus at all. So no, never comfortable on this one, never.
That's fair. All right, I'll let you get refocused back on this, get some of these corner speeds down while you have some time. Good luck in this next race. So coming up, we have 3 laps of Water Village. It was flipped before. It was supposed to be 1 lap of Rocky Mountains before this, but that's going to be our next race instead. So we have 3 laps of Water Village, high skill event, 2.5 time multiplier, 1 corner caper super, and 1 quantum shift super. So the corner caper lasts for 10 seconds. When it's not an ability and it's a super, it lasts for 10 seconds. So we might see a lot of wrecks. I'm crossing my fingers. I think everyone that's watching should cross their fingers too. We want to see some wrecks here. No, we want to. The people watching want to, but the people racing do not want to see those wrecks unless it's unless it's the people they're racing against. But let's. Okay, sorry. But I know earlier today there was some good racing on this. Sometimes there's some power up usage that was a little weird. So we'll see how everyone uses their power ups. But the people that were first and second in the earlier Omnium were Casey and Nigel. Nigel is now in 3rd overall right now. Man, it's the first event. So Frank is in 1st, then Casey, then Nigel, then Luis, then Kayla, then Homer. I want to talk to Luis here and see if he's had any practice on this map. I don't know if he's ridden it much or how much practice he has. Do you feel comfortable with this map yet, or do you know the corner speeds, or how are you feeling?
I've never done this map. I just had to practice right before the race, and it's very tricky. And I was watching the streams earlier and saw a lot of crashes, but also saw a lot of people that had certain strategies on when to use the corner caper and things like that. So maybe I learned something. Well, one thing is to learn it, and the other thing is to actually be able to use it or apply it correctly. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, no, I understand. I'm sure we'll see a lot of people use the Timothy Termont method of using it. I know he had a few good ones today that will probably be replicated at some point. We'll see how successful it is replicating, but good luck in the races. I know there's about a minute left, so I'll let you get back and focused and get ready for this. But this is one of those that most of the time it's go slow to go fast. There's a lot of very slow corners where you have to drop down to like 24 kilometers per hour. So we're going to have, again, it's 3 laps of this, I believe. It's a fun race to watch. It's a fun race to do. I did it earlier this morning, and it was a lot of fun to do, especially because you don't have to pedal that hard except for in like 2 spots. So you can kind of relax a little bit. So this is a good one, especially coming up before Rocky Mountains next, where people can kind of catch their breath a little bit, get a little bit of a rest. Not much, because there are parts that you really have to push the pedal down. You really have to work those legs and get moving forward. So, but it should be good. I think. I don't know. I think this is one of the favorite maps, newer maps, especially because it's just when you have these technical courses and they're all different, and even like how it looks and everything. And so you have Nigel and Frank goes out of the gun really fast, and Luis comes up, and Daniel's in here now. I see Daniel in here now. Daniel's like, you know what? I missed that first race. I'm gonna make the most of these races, and he goes out in front. He's already a second out in front. Hopefully he knows the corner speeds. He's gunning it real hard through these ones, already sliding out in the corners that aren't ones that you normally slide out in. But the tricky ones are coming up next. I didn't see any wrecks just yet. So right now you have Casey in second, who's coming back up. Daniel looks like he knows the speed, so he slows down just enough. Frank and Nigel go out in the same corner there. Oh, that's going to be... That's tough to see. I know when we saw Frank on controller, the same thing happened. But yes, Daniel is incrucible, and he is doing good. And Luis goes down But Casey is just slow and steady right behind. I think Casey knows that in this one he just had, and Frank goes down again in these corners. But I think Casey's just going to ride his race. He can see Daniel up the road, but I think he's going to hope that Daniel makes a mistake. With these wrecks, Kayla is now in third, and Luis is right behind her, putting down some power to try to catch back up. So we'll see. And Daniel already uses his corner caper here, but it runs out right at the end there. So he uses it in those two corners that are very, very slow corners, and gets through to get a good little bit of a lead here, about 10 seconds. But I think Casey's going to use his at a different point. Those are good points because I know some people use it. Like I used it at the last corner at the end to try to catch back up, but then you only have one corner that's faster than the others. So in this one, if you can use it in 2 or 3 corners and try to go even faster in those, then it can be really useful. Take a lot of time off. So Daniel, I think, has been practicing this course. This is his warm up too, because he missed the first race. But we see Duda Athlete says would love to see Daniel win and be going for the Omnium without a race. It could happen, especially with this one. And I know he can put the power down. So if he keeps this lead and he can rest a little bit, he'll have one less race going into Rocky Mountain and into the last one, Country Rally. Oh, but he's in the corner. He slides out on the front. So now Casey can move back up and try to catch back up here. We'll see if he can make up the ground. But that's not good for Daniel. And now there's only a 5-second gap between Daniel and Casey. But yeah, I don't know where Modi's been. I think he's been sick. But hey, Glenn, why are you? I was awake at a similar time, I believe, depending on your time zone. I would go to bed. I would go to bed right now if I were me too. But Daniel still has a lead here. He's still making a gap. He has 6 seconds of a lead. And Casey's still, working back. And now this is where they can open up and really push out. They're not going to be sliding out at all here. And Casey's putting down 750 watts, putting down some more equalized watts right now than Daniel. And he has about 4 kilometers an hour. He's about 4 kilometers an hour faster too. So, it's, he's catching back up, but it's still a 5-second gap. Daniel's still pushing. This last corner can be a tricky one. People really try to push this one. And this is probably the one that I see the most wrecks on, other than that first corner that's very, very fast, very, very slow. So we'll see if he knows the speeds. He does, and he gets through. He wrecked one time, but he's still 4 seconds ahead. But Casey comes through here, and he has his corner caper left. So he can make up a lot of time with that, especially on these slow corners. Near the middle of the track. Luis is in third, only 10 seconds back from Casey, and then Nigel in fourth, Kayla back in fifth, and then even further back there, we have Frank. And Frank goes down in that last corner. Like I said, very tricky corner. And Homer crosses him in the corner, and now we see if Frank can come back up. He may just be saving for the next ones to try to get as many points in the next 2 races as well. But Daniel's still on the front, still pushing. The lead is still about 4 seconds. So Casey is just, racing his own race, not trying to push too hard, making sure he doesn't make any mistakes. And I think he's still going to let Daniel try to make his own mistakes because it's happened once. And Casey still has all of his supers left to use. And Luis is just, riding his race as well back there. I think, if he can, he'll try to get in the first and second spot. But right now, it looks like that's going to be tough to catch up to. So he's just got to hold off Nigel, who's 5 seconds behind him in 4th place. Casey's still looking good. Their heart rates are all fairly decent, around equals. And Daniel makes another mistake there. And I think that's just what Casey is waiting for. Casey moves on by, speeds up. And that's all Casey wanted to see was just, make Daniel make the mistake. Just be right there with him. So he thinks he has to push a little harder. And then let him do all the work. And now Casey has the lead. and still has his super. So if he doesn't go down, I think he knows this course well enough. He's practiced it. He did it earlier today, and now he uses his super, puts up a lot of speed, gets the corner caper so he doesn't slide out in the corners. Now we'll see if he puts it down enough. I don't think he did, so he's going to slow down here. Yeah, if you get enough speed and put down enough watts there, you can get through that third corner as well, but it is difficult. It takes a lot of effort. So he has an 8-second lead now, and if he doesn't wreck, it might be hard to come back on that. But Daniel does know this course fairly well. Like he was racing it really well, just 2 corners did him in there, and I think he's practiced it, so he knows what he needs to do. And he could make up the time, but this is a difficult one to make time up on, especially with these corner speeds. But Luis still in third, 7 seconds ahead of Kayla, because I saw Nigel went down earlier. So now he's got to fend off Kayla. He didn't get the rest. He's like, yes, Nigel's down behind me. Kayla's like, well, I'm going to come up and try to take this from you. So he's got to, still put some effort in with Kayla right behind him. And you see he still is up on the front. Casey is still 6 seconds ahead. And Daniel it's just, I think this one is a lot of times if you don't make a mistake and you can stay as close to the corner speed up a little bit, because I rode this earlier today without a mistake, but I didn't speed up very much outside of the corners when I could have. And I think I got 4th place or 5th place in this. So you can still place pretty well as long as you don't wreck, because especially when you wreck once, you feel like you have to work even harder and go even faster so you don't get caught, or so you can catch back up, and it causes more and more wrecks, and then you get flustered and wreck some more. So it can be difficult, but Casey's really putting the power down here on the straightaway. Luis is 20 seconds behind Daniel right now. So the front 2 are way out in front. I don't know if anyone's going to be able to catch back up to them. And Casey has a 7-second lead now coming into this last corner. I think he knows the speed pretty well, and he gets through it. 1 more lap to go, and he has a 7-second lead. That's probably going to grow a little bit, but 4th or 5th is good. I know it was very early for me, but no, I love getting up early on Tuesdays. It's a great way to start my morning. Probably the most awake I feel for about half the day. Then afterwards, it's a slow downhill to delirium and wanting to sleep. But Casey's now has the lead up to 8 seconds, the gap up to 8 seconds. But Luis is starting to catch back up as well. It's only a 17-second gap instead of a 20-second gap. So he's made up 3 seconds there. Nigel back in 5th uses his corner caper on the last corner to try to catch up with Kayla. So he has a higher speed differential right now, and he's right behind Kayla. So Kayla's going to have to work to fend him off if she wants to. We'll see how it goes. Maybe they can work together to try to get back up and pass Luis. But I think in this one, it's hard to work with a team or work with anyone just because of it's just a difficult one you don't want to draft off someone, because even that little bit of draft can make your speed just go up a little bit too much, and boom, you're out into a corner, or sliding out into this one is very easy into people. So Nigel moves up in front of Kayla and is only 7 seconds back from Luis, and Casey has almost a 10-second gap. It's 9 seconds right now, but I think it's splitting between 10 and 9 right now on Daniel. So if he could keep this up, which it looks like he's going to, I don't think he's gonna push it too hard. I think he's gonna play it as safe as possible, because 10 seconds on this is very hard to come back on, even if you're not pushing as hard as you can. But he actually looks like he's putting down 800 watts. He goes, you know what? I'm not done yet. I'm still gonna do my best. And Frank crashes down in 6th. So Frank's. This is Frank's. The bane of Frank's existence is this map. I remember a few weeks ago we had Frank and Casey on controller, their grudge match on controller on this map, and both times Frank crashed more than probably anyone combined has it on this map yet, and he's doing the same on physically as he did on keyboard or on controller. So I'm sure he's gonna love hearing that, but it is what it is. Sometimes it happens like that. No, it is. It's probably his favorite map, but one day he's just going to show up and just destroy it. And well, maybe this map will just disappear from the face of the earth like it never happened, and no one will ever know. But or he'll just show up and be perfect on this map and destroy everyone. But here we have Casey he's 8 seconds ahead now. So Daniel's cutting into the lead a little bit, but I think it might be too little too late, especially as they come up on this last corner here. And then it's going to be to the part where you can just push it as hard as you can. So here he goes into the park. I love how they do this little park section. I think it's a nice change of scenery. You get from, the tight corners, you get on the water, you're all these tight corners. But he puts down 700 watts here. Yes, Dude Athlete says, Daniel, activate the full send super before the last long section. Hopefully he has that one still up. I know it's one of the secret supers that they don't tell you about. And he is going very fast. He's sending it, but the lead might be a little bit too much. It's to 6 seconds now. But I think it's going to be too little, too late, which is tough to see. I think Daniel had that if he didn't wreck. The 2 wrecks are really what did him in. So hopefully, don't be discouraged. 2 wrecks on this is not bad. But Casey takes the win, crosses the finish line. Daniel's going to come in second here. And then Luis is going to most likely come in third. He's 10 seconds up from Kayla, but it looks like Nigel might be trying to catch back up to Kayla. I'm not sure. Frank, 30 seconds behind Nigel. He uses his corner caper. I don't think I saw anyone use their quantum shift, which, there it is. There, Nigel uses his right behind Kayla here. Let's see what happens here at the end. And Kayla has her corner caper to make sure that it doesn't happen. Nigel slides out and is about to cross the finish line in 5th. Frank behind that, 30 seconds behind that, and then Homer 10 seconds behind him. And I think Homer's just getting his workout in. This is his 4th Omnium, but let's go back to Casey. I know we talk to Casey all the time because he's always winning. Casey, was your plan just to let Daniel make a mistake there, like I said, or was I completely off base on that? How do you feel?
I'd like to say that was the plan. The reality was I was pushing, but not panicking. But if Daniel didn't make a mistake, I didn't have the power to catch him, I don't think, unless he was going to blow up, essentially. So, I was trying to stay close to force a mistake, but if I went any harder, I would have faded. So, it worked out for me, but the reality was I wasn't riding behind him to force a mistake. I was just he used the supers early, and I was trying to close the gap so I could pass him with my super, but he ended up wrecking, so the super just kind of extended the lead. Even once I got a lead, I don't feel like I backed off much as far as, that I had much more at the end. So, yeah, I think it really came down to the wrecks. Kudos to Daniel. He had good legs. A couple, I say near made it, not near miss, right? He wrecked twice, but he was nailing the corners really close a lot. So he's really close to mastering that.
Yeah, definitely looks like he's practiced this course a lot. So I'm sure the next time it comes up, he'll be a force to be reckoned with. But congrats on that win. Moving you up to first place right now in the overall. So congrats and good luck on this next one. Coming up next, we have 1 lap of Rocky Mountains, medium skill, 1.5 time multiplier. We have uncrashable as an ability. So it's on all the time, can't crash, no wrecks. And then our super is 1 use of inertia, which keeps your speed locked whenever you hit it. That's your speed for 10 seconds. So we see a lot of people here, especially on there's 1 lap. There's like a little bit of a flat part right before one of the steepest hills at the end before the descent. So we've seen a lot of people go into that Just a little downhill slope. They get as much speed as they can, hit the inertia, and then go up, and they're going as fast as possible. Good night, good morning. Yes, Crucible. Hopefully, you can come back on another break. See, Luis says that it was a fun race, but he needs more practice. I think that's how everyone feels. I need a lot of practice, but yeah, thanks for hanging out with us, Crucible. Let's go talk to Kayla here. I feel like we haven't talked to her yet. Kayla, how was that last race? I saw you saved your corner caper until the end, and it paid off because Homer looked like he was trying to come back and beat you there, but your corner caper saved you. How'd that feel?
Oh yeah, so grateful for the supers. Let me tell you, because yeah, no, that one was it was a fun race, but Nigel was coming right there behind me and kept creeping in, and that gap time kept decreasing between us. So luckily, I know that he used his corner caper earlier in the race, so I was like, as long as I can just keep in front of him, and I saw him use his quantum shift, but I was confident that I was going to be able to make that one just because I had the super still in my hand. So, but yeah, fun race. Definitely need to practice that one more because you can cut off a lot of time by just making sure you hit each corner exactly. I didn't crash, which was awesome. So that was a pat on the back for myself since I am crash clean here. So yeah, just getting better, and that one was just so much fun. I had a great time in that one. So now it's off to Rocky Mountain. One lap. I'm going to give it everything I got here.
Yep, this is a fun one. There's no crashing on this one. And it looked like since you didn't crash, you must have given all your crashes to Frank because I saw him crashing all over the place.
Yeah,
but good luck on this next. Yeah, good luck on this next one. I know this is normally we do multiple laps of this, so one lap is a lot of fun. You're going to see a lot of effort here. So good luck. Yeah, so like I said, normally we do 2 laps or 3 laps of this, which it's a long course, but one lap, you see a lot more effort put in, especially uncrashable. You don't have to worry about corners or anything. You're going to see people pushing and really, really giving it their all. And I know, Daniel's only had one race, so his heart rate looks a little lower than everyone else. So he may be someone to watch out for in this next map here. Again, one lap, Rocky Mountains, medium skill, 1.5 time multiplier. Right now, the scoreboard is looking like Casey is number 1 in the overall. Luis is in second. Frank is in third. Kayla is in fourth, only 1 point behind Frank right now. And Nigel is in fifth, 1 lap behind, 1 point behind Kayla. And then Daniel with 1 race is only 5.5 points behind Nigel there. So Daniel with only 1 race is in the mix. He's looking to go. And here we go out the gates. Luis pushes off really hard. Frank and Casey are trying to follow here. Frank's got to get back in. He's trying to get into the draft. He's like, nope, you're not getting away from me. Yeah, it's all downhill except for the first roughly half of the map, or actually a little over half is all uphill. So that's going to be fun. But I guess everything else is downhill if you really think about it. But Luis is putting down the hurt right now. He is pushing out ahead. He is not letting Frank wanted to get on his wheel and get the draft, but Luis is like, nope, I'm 3 seconds up the road already, and we'll see if he ever looks back or if he keeps this power down. And Casey moves up, and now Frank's gonna sit on Casey's wheel and says, yeah, Casey, you want to carry me to the promised land here? Let's catch back up. I believe in you. And then Nigel's a little further down the road with Kayla behind and Homer behind. And I don't know if Daniel's in here. I can only see up to 6 riders. So it looks like, not sure if Daniel made it to this one or if he's having more technical issues or what's going on. But hopefully he can get that figured out because he was in the mix. And yeah, it doesn't look like he made it into this race, sadly. But Luis is a beast. He's already, what is that? Oh, sorry. He's 8 seconds up the road already and has a way higher speed. It looks like Casey's says to Frank, get off my wheel. You can do some work. But no, he pushes back up. And and Chip says, go Kayla and Homer. Kayla and Homer, I see you back there. Kayla and Homer are racing there in the back, but Nigel and Kayla are now working together to get back up with Frank and Casey here. So their group is all there, but Luis is 11 seconds up the road and he is killing it. But sorry, sorry, Daniel. I see tech issues and started having some kind of coughing fit. Sorry to hear that. Just want to let you know you're 5 points away from 5th place from that one race. So you were in the mix. I wish that things would have worked out a little better and you didn't have those issues. But I hope you start feeling better, and I hope you can get those tech issues resolved. But for now, you got 2nd place. You're really good on it. Just one less wreck, and you probably would have taken that Daniel and gotten 1st. But here you have Casey. He's on the front. I think he wants someone to switch with him. I think he's saying, "Hey Frank, hey Nigel, somebody come up and carry me because I'm tired of carrying you guys." And Nigel is happily obliged to take that offer up. But Kayla says, "I want to get into this too." And there's the new group is forming. They want to catch back up to Luis, who's still 11 seconds up the road. I think Luis is feeling himself right now. He is in the zone. He doesn't look that tired at all. But let's see if he can keep it up this whole race. I mean, he is really pushing. This is incredible. But Casey's in here typing in the chat, says to rotate and ring Luis out. So he wants to catch back up to Luis here, but now Casey's moving back up to the front. He's probably like, man, someone else needs to take this from me so that way I don't have to work this hard. But Luis is still pushing. The gap's only 8 seconds now. So they are catching up to him. It looks like he's maybe tiring out a little bit, but he's still pushing 400 watts. So he's going to speed up a little bit, but that gap is shrinking and shrinking down to 7 seconds, down to 6 seconds now. So they can see him right up the road. And I thought Luis was just going to take this one home easily, but it looks like they are moving at a higher speed. Their differential, they're about 2 kilometers an hour faster than Luis right now. And Luis is putting down a lot of power, but this group coming up behind, it's hard to stave off a group of 4 riders coming with you. And it looks like a 5th in their ranks now. So yeah, the 5 or 4. Yeah, no, I can't count, but it's 4 riders. I just have trouble counting sometimes. So don't mind me. But yeah, no, Daniel, it looked like you were really, really locked in. Looked like you were just barely over the speeds on those 2 corners you wrecked in. So I think one more go at it and you're gonna take it and be a force to be reckoned with. And it's good to practice those 2 races because those 2 are here we have Kayla. He puts down some power and uses her inertia to try to catch back up to Luis. And it looks like Frank matched there with the power. Didn't use his inertia, so he still has it coming up to this last little uphill though. But right now, Casey still, if they finish in this position, Casey is still in 1st overall. But here, Kayla and Frank working together here, a little bit of a makeshift team to try to take it. I don't think they can take any money here. I don't think they're official racers, but I think this is for some glory. They want to do everything, but it looks like Kayla's working a little harder than Frank here. But no, Frank puts down 700 watts here, and this is the part where it gets flat. This is where you really want to put the power down. You see Frank and Luis putting down as much power as possible. Frank's putting down 900, almost 1,000 watts. He's still putting down 900 watts. Oh my God, this is a huge thing. And then right at the downhill, gets it at 57 kilometers per hour. Casey uses his at 55 and Luis at 50. So Frank put down over 900 watts for almost, that looked like 10, maybe 15 seconds. So I'm sure he's going to get equalized pretty hard there after that one. But he puts down a crap ton of watts again. This is the 2nd effort of the night like that we've seen, where he just puts the power down and gets to a higher speed than everyone else and uses his inertia right at the uphill right at the incline, the last incline, and now everyone's coming over this crest and going to this descent. It's 3.2 kilometers left, so it's far from over. Casey's only 2 seconds back, even with that speed differential and how much power Frank put down there. But Frank does have a little bit more speed right now, so we'll see if Casey has anything left to try to catch back up. He sees him up the road. He might try to catch back up later, but now he's putting down some power now that I called him out a little bit. But Frank sees it too, and he's going to try to match. And apparently, Frank had some green enchiladas for dinner. So I guess that really gave him the gas to go here. So that was a horrible joke, but we're here. Casey's trying to catch up. Luis is 8 seconds back from Casey, and then Nigel's 7 seconds back from him. So the groups are separating a little bit. Everyone's kind of a few seconds apart. We'll see if anyone catches up with anyone. And due to athlete, yes, put down the cow, crap ton of watts. That's true. He has, but Casey's still trying to catch up to Frank. The gaps are separating between everyone. It seems like no one's really able to catch anyone right here. Everyone's about 6, 7 seconds apart. Cow, the family friendly version of Watts, exactly. But Frank is still, putting down the power in the front. Speeds are around the same. I think he's trying to match, but he's at 192 on his equalized heart rate. Kayla, who was at like 193, is down to 180 on her equalized heart rate. And Casey's at 186 on his equalized heart rate. So Frank's heart rate's a little higher. His equalized heart rate's a little higher, so he's working a little harder. But he's still doing fairly well. He still has 5 seconds on Casey, and there's 1.6 kilometers to go. So he still has a lot of he still has a lot of room to go, a lot more distance to go. But he's in a comfortable position, 7 seconds up now on Casey. So I don't know if Casey will be able to come back on this unless he puts in a massive effort, but I don't know if Casey's going to want to do it, especially on a 1.5 time multiplier event. He might save it for country rally coming up next, which is always a fun one. Return of everyone's favorite character, Barney the Barn Door, in the next race. But here we see Casey put down some power. Put down some wattage there, 500, 600 equalized watts to speed up. He's now 4 seconds behind Frank. He sees him right up the road. I don't know if he's going to try to hold this or if he's just going to let him have it. It looks like right now he's just going to finish it out and let him have it. Nigel uses his inertia further back. He sees Luis up the road, but still everyone's kind of gapped a little bit. Everyone's a few seconds off the person in front of them, and it would probably take a massive effort to really catch back up. Chip says, "Get him, Casey." So we'll see if Casey does. He's 4 seconds off still, and only 500 meters left to go for Frank. So we'll see if he wants to put the effort in, if he wants to try to save a little bit, because Casey's now at 192 on his equalized heart rate. So he's really starting to feel it. And we're going to see what happens here. It doesn't look like he's going to try to catch back up. And Luis is 10 seconds back from him. So I don't think anyone's going to catch anyone here. Everyone's kind of 5 to 10 seconds away from each other still. So this is most likely going to finish the way it is, as Frank has 100 meters left to go. The battle between Frank and Casey, this time won by Frank. So we have Frank winning race 1 and 3, and Casey winning race 2, but coming in second here on race 3 as well. So after this, that puts Casey in first place. He's ahead by 22.5 points in front of Frank in second. Casey is still the overall leader. He says he's spent. This next one's more of a rhythm course. You still have to do a little bit, but let's go talk to Luis, who I think got third on that one. Luis, how was that race? You came out of the gates firing on all cylinders. Did you just die out there, or what happened?
No, I knew I wanted to go hard from the beginning because I saw the earlier races. It's not a big pack. You weren't gonna get a lot of draft if you wanted to work with someone, because it would be like 2 people maybe trying to chase someone up the front or just keeping the pace. So I gave it a try, but I think after Casey convinced the others to work together, it's just a different game. So didn't work out, but at least I gave it a shot.
Yeah, I think it was a really good plan. You had like 12 seconds up on the rest of the pack, but I probably didn't help by telling them what Casey wanted to do. So I apologize for that. But if they did work together, I think you had that. But hopefully you still have some left for the next race. Good luck, and you're sitting in third overall right now, and you have a chance to move up to second and perhaps even first, depending on how everything shakes out. So give it your all on this one. But so coming up next, this last map of the Omnium. This one, you might see a lot of wrecks. Hopefully we see some Barney the Barn Door wrecks. We have 5 laps of country rally, high skill event, 2.5 time multiplier. We have 1 great responsibility, 1 inertia, and 1 path of least resistance. And these supers that we have here. Again, great responsibility gives you great power for 5 seconds. Inertia, we know what that does. It holds your speed at wherever you hit it. That's where your speed is locked in at for 10 seconds. But your path of least resistance means your road resistance is reduced for 10 seconds. And we've seen some mistakes on this track earlier Omniums with this map of people using their great responsibility and then using their path of least resistance. And even on slight curves with path of least resistance, depending on your speed, you are sliding out. And then some people using their inertias a little late or a little early. So we're going to see how this plays out, how the timing goes. And then I want to go talk to someone we haven't talked to, I think, all night, really. Nigel, how are you feeling? I know you won the earlier Omnium today, but how are you feeling today? Just getting a workout in, tired, or how are the legs?
Yeah, I'm not as fresh as I was this morning. I'm certainly I'm a bit tired, and I've had a busy day at work today, so I'm a little bit fatigued. But we'll give it a bash.
Yeah, well, hopefully this is a good way to.
So, yeah, one of my favorite tracks.
I know
I'll see how I go.
Yeah, you won it earlier today, so I know it's one of your favorites. So hopefully you can.
Sebastian passed me with great responsibility on the last lap, so it was well played by him.
I thought you did win it, but you won the overall, so I guess that's all that matters. But you definitely know how to race this one, and I think people are going to be watching you to see how to race it. So hopefully you can come in and put a lot of work in. Hopefully this racing was a good way to de-stress after a busy day at work as well. So good luck in this next race. Well, actually, we have someone ask, what's Wednesday like? Because is it Wednesday for you?
It's what is it today? Yeah, Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday afternoon.
Well, and people in the chat want to know what Wednesday's like because it's only Tuesday for us. So how is Wednesday going?
We're ahead. We're in the future. Yeah.
Well,
stay home. Ride your bike inside.
That's a good way. That's a good way to do it. But yeah, no, I'll let you get back and get focused. Thanks for chatting. Good luck. Always excited to see him on his favorite map. This is actually, I really like this map too. Although 5 laps of this is pretty intense. A lot of times we only do 3. So 5 laps at the end, but I think because it was mostly technical, they were like, you know what? We'll just do 5 because you're not going to be as tired as normal. But this has been fun so far. I'm hoping we see more wrecks. Normally we don't have 2 maps where there are that many wrecks there are 2 maps where there is uncrashable, so we only got to see 1 map with wrecks so far, so I want to see a bunch of crashes. Everyone wants it. It's like gladiators in an arena. Every man for themselves. Everybody needs to fight each other. Let's get Back to the Future. Who doesn't get that reference? I guess I'm not young anymore, but everyone knows what Back to the Future is. I think. I feel like everyone should know, but that's beside the point. 20 seconds before the race starts. We want to see Barney the Barn Door make an appearance. We want to see these hay bales make an appearance. We want to see these logs make an appearance. Let's see some people wrecking corners. Let's see. And I know there were some different uses of this power up as everyone comes out of starting blocks. We'll see if anyone. Yep, there it is. Nigel uses his great responsibility right out of the gate, and then uses his inertia afterwards to keep that speed up. And Luis is 2 seconds behind here off his own power. So let's see. Nigel goes in the first corner. He's going to have to slow down a bit so he doesn't wreck here. And he gets through. I don't see any wrecks so far. Everyone's racing kind of clean. This is not the kind of racing we like to see here. We like to see wrecks. We like to see people battling. We like to see people side by side, cutthroat, punching each other. No, I'm just kidding. But everyone's moving through safely. Everyone's kind of away from each other. No one's really right next to anyone. But Nigel still has this lead. There should be a flux capacitor super. Frank here uses path of least resistance. I don't know if he meant to do that. He's gonna have to slow down a lot here so he doesn't slide out and crash. And he does. I think that might have been a mistake there. But it might cost him a little bit. So he has to slow down there in that corner after using that. And Homer's right behind him, and Kayla is right behind the both of them. Nigel's still 2 seconds out in front, but only 2 seconds out in the lead, and everyone else still has their great responsibility, which if you're already going a certain speed, going from 0 to using your great responsibility from the start, you can get a lot of speed. But if you're already going a certain speed, you can really, really get going. So we'll see if anyone uses it and on what lap they use it. Normally people will use it on this straightaway. And here you see Casey doing exactly that. Uses it on the straightaway, gets a lot of speed here, almost 60. And Frank does the same thing. And then Kayla does the same thing behind them. And then Frank uses his inertia there to keep his speed up and try to catch back up. I'm surprised no one tried to go over and block him. And he's coming into this corner and just, his inertia didn't run out in time. And he crashes in the corner. I think he used it just a half second too late. He was probably holding the brake, hoping it would run out. We saw that earlier today. I can't remember who did it. I can't remember exactly who did it. But we're right now, Casey overtakes Nigel with that use of his great responsibility. We may see, I don't know what the best way to use it on that straightaway. You might be able to use your path of least just to speed up a little bit, but I don't even know if people would use that power up or that super. Just like I don't think not many people use the quantum shift super, just because in this one it can be more of a hindrance and can be difficult and cause issues more than it helps. There are certain cases where it does help, but the more technical tracks, if you have your path of least resistance, it can be devastating. And as we saw where Frank had to slow down, but now it looks like we still have Casey up the road, 2 seconds up on Nigel. So for Nigel to come back, he's going to have to get it on these straightaways or hope that Casey wrecks. But I think Casey's been pretty good on these tracks. Even when he gets tired, he doesn't wreck very often. He puts down 900 watts here. Nigel only matches with about 600 equalized watts. And then Casey uses his inertia there after picking up a bunch of speed so he can get a little bit of a rest in, get his heart rate down because it's almost 190 and he's not too over speed here. Kayla does the same thing back in fourth place. But so now Casey has a 3-second lead on Nigel. I didn't see any wrecks so far from the barn door. Only seen one wreck from sliding out. I'm really disappointed in everyone right now. I want to see some hay bale wrecks. I know Casey wrecked on a hay bale earlier. Why can't he do it again? No, I'm just kidding. But Nigel moving through 3 seconds behind. Luis 6 seconds behind Nigel. Kayla 3 seconds behind Luis. And then 10 seconds back is Homer. And then Frank 10 seconds back from Homer. So everyone's spread out again. We're not getting any crashes. But Nigel is really trying to make this move up on Casey. He sees him in the distance. He knows that he used his super already. So now it's just a battle of their legs and who has anything left. And I know that Casey was feeling it after that last race. But I know Nigel has been feeling it as well. So we will see how it shakes out with 2 laps to go. Anything could happen. The gap is only 1 second now between Casey and Nigel. So Nigel is coming back up. But I do believe Luis, who is back in third, still has his great responsibility super, but I could be wrong. I can't fully remember. But the gap between Casey and Nigel is 1 second, and Nigel is putting down 400 watts. And there goes Luis with the great responsibility. So he did have it. He's going to try to catch back up here, get as much speed as he can. You know, he's a good speed differential here. He's right back with him within 2 seconds now. Homer does the same thing, I think, to try to catch back up with Kayla here, who's 10 seconds up the road on him. He's almost double the speed of her. Casey goes to the barn door and goes left. Nigel goes right. And I think these are the paths they always take. I normally take the Nigel path, but Luis and Kayla are fighting out. Luis, after using that super, has a big lead. Now Homer's going to try to fight out, catch up with Kayla and say, you know, I'm going to try to take this from you as well. But now Nigel overtakes Casey. We'll see. This is getting intense. Nigel wants this. But even if Nigel finishes here in front of Casey, Casey will still take the overall Omnium by, my math is, I'm going to do some gesture math, 28 points. So Casey might have this one locked up unless he wrecks a bunch and everyone passes him. I think that Casey's going to take this Omnium. But I know he wants to get as many points as possible, get his place as high as possible there. But Luis is coming up and sees him 2 seconds up, 1 second up the road now. And it's like, you know, I want to take this from you too. I want to take as many points. I'm sitting in third right now, but if I can move up, I might be able to take second, and I think he can actually. So Luis is looking for that move up in the placing here, and Casey, I think, just wants to do whatever he can. So Luis uses path of least resistance, speeds up a little bit, try to get some speed, but you do slide out a little bit here. We'll see if he just on the edge. See, that's the problem. Even with barely any curve there, he exceeds the corner speed because of that resistance being dropped, and crashes in there. That's always rough. I think whoever decided that super should be in this, had some evil intentions, and it worked out. So sad to see that. So we've had 2 people slide out into corners, but nobody into hay bales and nobody into Barney the Barn Door. Barney just wants friends. You know what I mean? I thought we were all friends with Barney the Barn Door, and we'd all hang out with them, swing. I don't know. I don't know why no one wants to be there. It looks like we have some Daniel has some let's see what Daniel says here. He says, if you're in the second lane from the left and doing 41 kilometers an hour on the very last bridge, you can activate great responsibility. Then just before the start finish, you can inertia do 66 for pretty well the entire bottom portion of the track. Inertia runs out in time to break for the first corner. Yes, I think we saw that earlier today. But the timing was a little bit off there by Frank when he did it. So there are some good ways you can use it. Casey trying to catch back up with Nigel, but Nigel's 3 seconds up on the front here. And I think Nigel's just running away with this one. 200 meters left, coming in this last little turn here. Nigel, this is his favorite track, his favorite map. And he's going to take this one home. And it looks like he just uses his last little super there at the end. Let's get the celebration in. There it is. That's what we like to see. Everyone's favorite celebration. Daniel has been practicing his strategy all afternoon and couldn't because of technical issues. And Casey looks absolutely dead. Let's go talk to Nigel. Nigel, how that race feel? I saw you use your great responsibility at the beginning, was that something that you saw from earlier Omniums that worked well, or did you think it was like, what was your thought process behind that? I mean, it worked out, but I just didn't know, what your thought was behind using it right at the beginning.
I did it in the race this morning. I did great responsibility, immediately followed by inertia to hold that speed.
Yeah. Okay.
The main thing for this race is if you can get out the front and clear of other riders, you can just sort of get in the zone and just race your own race. Whereas if you're in with other riders, you're worrying about crashing into them. So if you can get clear, you have a bit of an advantage. But well done, Casey. I thought Casey had it there.
Yeah, that was fair. That was really close. But in that last lap, you really put on the pressure, and I think you almost won by 10 seconds. So you wore Casey out, and you took second in the overall. So congrats on that. That's fair. But congrats. Let's go talk to Casey, who I'm sure he doesn't want to talk. He looked like he was about to pass out there. How are you feeling after that? It looked like you expended a lot of energy, especially after the Omnium earlier today.
Yeah, that was a tough zone. I mean, Nigel just rode away from me there. I did what I could to get in front and try to hold on to it. I just didn't have anything there. And honestly, so I'll talk for a second here. One tip to Luis there: don't push your luck. I was blowing up. Luis could have come back to me there. He used that power up, I think, kind of a last ditch effort to catch me, but I was kind of falling apart there. So that kind of saved me from losing another spot, which I don't think would have changed the overall, but it would have been points for sure. And then on the Rocky Mountain course, this is my insider info. Nigel needs to keep the hammer down on that one. Part of that communicating and trying to get the group to work is to kind of get the person on the front to give up because the numbers are against them. So that it's kind of twofold there. I mean, I'm sorry, that was Luis. Nigel and Kayla helped a little bit, but not a lot. I appreciate the help that they did do, but if Luis could have held that, he could have stayed away. I felt like he kind of gave up when he saw us working together, and he needs to commit to that and go, because I think he could have stayed away, or at least hurt us a lot more there in the end. And kudos to Frank. Frank played that right too. Him and I were kind of together there for a while, and he was either not pulling because he didn't want to influence the race, or he was not pulling because Kayla was behind us and they wear the same jersey. So either way, that was a good move by him. He sent it over the top, and I couldn't reel him in. But it was a lot of fun. Just as hard as the zone earlier today, for sure. I know I already saw some lap times on that waterscape course where I think the top 4 laps of the day are within 4 seconds of one another across different zones.
That's really close. Yeah, this has been a battle. I think every Omnium has been a pretty good battle, but this time you take the overall. So congrats on that, getting some more points, getting the higher placing. I do think if Luis would have passed you, he might have been able to move up into second place overall on that, depending on how the math shakes out, or it would have been very close to him getting second. But congrats again. Overall champion today for the for Zone T. So there you go. Got some money. I see you in the chat as well. I saw you typing in the chat while we were racing. But here you have the end of the highlights here, where, well, I think that was it. You saw the highlights. Everything's doing good. Mike KG, thanks for being in the chat. Thank you to everyone for racing in here tonight. Casey, Daniel, even though you only got one race, I appreciate you being here. You're the athlete. Thank you. Nigel, Kayla, Luis, Frank, Homer, everybody's in here. Thanks for coming out. I hope everyone had a good time watching. Victor, thanks for always changing stuff around and clicking things for us. So I really appreciate that as well. Everyone have a good night, and until next time, I'll see you.
But no, Beth, yours goes crashing down. Determination, the suffering, the ability to... And she's unleashed everything in this attack. See just how much that win means to him. All the marbles. Kayla versus Allison, and to the line. Kayla Laguna takes the victory.